So as you talk right now, what's happening inside?
It's just moving.
Okay.
It's just kind of moving on its own.
So is you notice any? What about the breath? What about the quality of movement?
The breath is following the movement. During a move like this, it's kind of shallow.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I go more deeply, it will follow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sort of playing with the same moves here.
Yeah.
But each time there's something slightly different for me, like I'm feeling just a tiny bit of extra pull or stretch, even as I repeat the same movement again and again. Each time it's got its own flavor and feel.
Yeah. Yeah. So each movement is anew. It has its own flavor and feel.
Right.
And so, for instance, when you just slightly changed your movement, like you did a few seconds ago, what are you responding to?
The impulse.
Yeah.
There was just, an impulse, something. It's as though there's energy that's beating about the body,
Mm-hmm.
and it just moves to where it wants to go. So part of when I dance, either to music or right now I'm just sort of feeling my own music,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just aware of that pulsing of energy. So like right now it's kind of not doing much of anything, it's just hovering at the hips.
Okay, so that sense of listening to your own music and letting it inspire.
Right. See,
the
there
movement.
it just got a little. It just pushed the hips. I don't know why it just did.
Great. So you're just noticing in a way that it's not a conscious decision. It's just something that happens, that the movement, happens, and you follow it. You let it happen.
Right.
Yeah. So, just a few minutes ago we were talking about something, and you were, just trying to answer it logically or in thinking. And I'd like to maybe go into more of following whatever happens with your body, as opposed to thinking through it. Okay? So not at all trying to come up with an answer, but just simply let your body react to what I'm saying.
Okay.
And you were talking about, saying something maybe a little bit forbidden about sensuality. You said, no, not really a problem for me. And then you said, well, maybe. Okay? And so there was like a bit of a question mark. And I'm inviting you to just stay with that question mark inside your body and let movements come up without worrying what they might mean.
Okay.
And if some words and images come at the same time, feel free to share them if you want, but certainly not from a sense of explaining anything.
So I don't know why I just went into my hands right now, but that's where I am.
Yeah. So just, appreciating that sense of that's what needs to happen right now.
That question mark is not a happy thing for me. I think
Yeah.
I might be in denial about that.
Okay, so just noticing that there's something that feels like it's not a happy question, and letting it be, and feeling, by the way, that There is absolutely no answer that needs to happen, and what you're doing is simply staying with the question. And when it doesn't feel right to stay with it, you absolutely have every right to move away from it and just to notice what it feels like, to have permission to stay with it as much as you want and move from it as far away as you want.
Yeah, there is pain in the heart around that question.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so there's pain in the heart, and it seems like all the attention is focused on the heart and on that hand that seems to be following it, while the rest of your body is staying at attention.
It's calming. I'm calming it.
Yeah.
It's not. It's fear and anxiety.
Yeah.
I think my natural expression is to be quite free.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say that I was ever shamed for that expression, so it's not a direct. I think many people experience shaming directly, but I think I did absorb shame in the culture about the body that made me feel pain.
Yeah. And so right now what's happening is that, you are staying still. Most of your body is still. And that's very different from your normal self, which is to move. And there is this hand movement going, following gently, and it has a calming effect. So there is a part of you noticing the staying still and relating it to shame, and shame in a way of the whole culture that you absorb. And there is a part of you that is bringing a resource of something calming to this.
Sounds right.
So what is it like to notice that? What's happening inside when you experience your still body as shamed and you experience a desire to bring some soothing?
I'm not experiencing the body as shamed, I'm experiencing it as hurt.
Hurt, yeah. Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah, very different, very different. So you're experiencing your body as hurt. Anxious, yeah. And there is also a part of you that is very willing and able to provide some calming and soothing and comforting and resourcing skills there.
It can take a while.
Yeah, yeah. So that moving hand, what does it feel like inside as you move it?
Sort of feel like my heart is one of those expanded red giant suns. That it's, the perimeter is here, the sphere extends beyond the chest, and so it's like a blowfish that gets scared. And so the stroking is to calm it into retracting. I don't like using that word, but into
calming down.
Returning to its familiar size.
Yeah, yeah. So the sense with the hand then is like the hand is touching that expanded, scared, expanded blowfish of the heart. And that sense that as you're touching it, you're helping it return to its calmer state.
Right.
And you just started moving the other hand. So what's happening inside that hand?
Well, I'm noticing about a left hand, right hand thing happening here. That I'm thinking perhaps the calming is the job for the left hand, for the intuitive side. And now that seems to have helped the situation, now the right hand, which is again that thinking and, you know, planning and kind of knows what to do in a more superficial sense. It can kind of join the party and do what it needs to do, but the first part has to come from the intuitive.
Yeah. So the first part came from the intuitive part, and now in a way the other side is joining, and certainly in the thought, in a way, even as it's joining, as the hand is moving, comes the thought, I'm joining the intuitive side with that thinking side.
Right.
So you're connecting, right now, your thinking part.
There's another interesting thing that's happening too now. I just noticed my magnetic weight pushing into my left foot. Again, could be part of the intuitive thing, or
so you're noticing your weight pushing in your left foot, and as you notice your weight pushing there, what's happening with your hips?
It's trying to find a center. They're trying to find a center around the left foot.
Okay.
And there's a pushing down. My hip wants to push down into the ground.
Yeah. So as you're having more of the weight on the left foot, there is a desire to find your new center there. And the hip is pushing more. So is the hip pushing more on the left side, or what's it like?
Yeah, it's pushing more on the left side.
Yeah.
It's actually starting to release right now, so the weights are turning to the right.
Yeah. So is it pushing sideways or downwards, or just what direction do you feel the push?
Now it's more sideways. Before it felt fairly deeply down. I don't know how it looked, but that's what I was feeling.
Yeah. So just to shift, first it was down and now it's more sideways.
Right.
Yeah. And what's happening in your torso as you notice that?
Oh, my torso is floating.
Floating?
It's just sort of following the hips. There's not a whole lot of engagement.
Yeah, so really clearly not driving, but following the hips.
Kind of walking step.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to run away.
So just let yourself feel the energy of wanting to run away. And maybe as you do the little steps, just, you can think of them in your mind as running away. And see what it feels like to have that energy of running away.
Flying away.
Yeah, so just now it's your whole body and it's flying away with your wings. And what's it like to fly away? What's happening? Is it...
Now I'm feeling much more free.
Yeah.
Kind of where we were when we started.
Yeah.
Or shortly after we started.
Yeah. So you're in that place that feels free.
Yeah, my chest feels much more released.
Mm-hmm.